The sky over New Titan Colony burned crimson. Streaks of plasma fire slashed the atmosphere, and towering mushroom clouds clawed toward the stars. Buildings folded in on themselves. Screams, distant, raw, real, faded beneath the thunder of orbital bombardment. Commander Rhea Calder ducked beneath a shattered support beam, rifle gripped tight, breath sharp in her throat. Her combat visor flickered. Static blurred out the team vitals display. Too many were offline. Status? She barked into her mic. 2 squads down. Reaper 3 gone. I'm with 4 wounded under sublevel C, replied Lieutenant Morrow, voice crackling. Draug or breach the command deck. We're falling back. Negative, Rhea snapped. We make our stand here. Collapse the tunnels if they push deeper. Silence. Then a grunted. Copy. Dust and ash coated her armor. Her gauntlet blinked red, ammunition low. She glanced at the sky through a gap in the ceiling. A Draugar warship hung above, casting a long, predatory shadow. Sleek black, organic looking. Not a vessel, more like a living weapon. The Draugar didn't send diplomats. They arrived unannounced and burned everything that moved. No threats. No terms. No demands. Just extermination. Commander! A scout sprinted in, panting. They're deploying more Reavers near the reactor shaft. If they breach it. They won't. Rhea keyed her wrist pad. Prep the secondary override. I want them buried in molten rock if they so much as breathe near it. She turned to the few remaining Marines crouched in cover with her, faces smeared with soot, eyes grim but alive. We hold, she said low and steady. We make them bleed here. They think we're nothing. Let's make them regret that assumption. A beat. Then the click of safeties turned off, boots shifting into ready positions. No speeches. Just fire in their eyes. A distant metallic roar echoed down the corridor. Close. Fast. Rhea knelt and aimed. Incoming. A hulking silhouette burst through the far wall, 8 feet of armored Draugar Reaver, its chitinous hide glistening like obsidian. It hissed, exposing rows of serrated fangs. Another followed, then 2 more. Fire! Gunfire tore through the air, tracer rounds lighting up the darkness. 1 Reaver went down, its head perforated. The others surged forward, slicing through cover with hooked talons. Rhea vaulted over debris, emptied her mag into a charging beast, then rolled aside as it collapsed with a wet thud. A Draugar lunged at her from behind. She spun, pulled her combat knife, and drove it deep into its throat, black ichor spraying her visor. Calder, we're out of time! Morrow's voice came through again. They're crawling all over the colony grid. We can't hold. Rhea kicked off the dying Reaver and hit the detonator on her belt. Then we don't, she muttered. Minutes later, beneath the ruins, the survivors gathered in the reactor maintenance chamber, dark, silent, hot. The last safe space before collapse. Rhea opened a secure comlink to Fleet Command. Admiral Vance's tired, scarred face filled the screen. You're not exfiltrating? He asked. No, she said. We have a chance to take one of their ships down with us. That'll give the fleet time to regroup. Vance exhaled, rubbing his temple. You're talking suicide. No, sir. I'm talking strategy. Let's show them how humans say hello. He paused. Then, with a grim nod, make it hurt. The line cut. Rhea turned to her team. Ready the charge. Focus everything on the central support column. Once it goes, the geothermal core destabilizes and vaporizes the landing zone. What about us? Asked a corporal. She looked him in the eyes. We're ghosts already. They nodded, no fear, just acceptance. Above, on the surface, a Draugar patrol surveyed the cratered ruins. One of them, taller, armored in deep crimson, paused as motion flickered in the dust. A human, walking upright alone. Her armor was scorched, her rifle low but steady. The Draugar stepped forward, hissing. Rhea stared up at him, expression blank. You thought we were prey, she said, voice low but amplified across the comms. Then she raised her left hand. The detonator blinked once, then glowed steady red. She pressed it. The ground ruptured beneath the draugar. A massive white-hot plume shot skyward as the colony's core exploded, tearing the Predator warship apart in a single cataclysmic blast. The fleet above scrambled, but it was too late. From orbit, Earth Command watched as the enemy's signal vanished. New Titan was gone. So was the draugar landing force. 2 days later, Earth Command HQ, orbiting Mars. "Run that again," said Admiral Vance, pointing at the holoscreen. The technician replayed the footage, Rhea's last words, her stance, the moment she detonated the core. The room was silent. "She took out an entire draugar battalion and a capital ship with a geothermal overload," murmured one officer. Vance narrowed his eyes. "She knew exactly what message to send." "What now?" someone asked. Vance straightened. Now we stop playing defense." He turned toward the strategic display of the galaxy, countless draugar-occupied systems glowing in red. "She showed them we're not prey." He stabbed a finger into the center of the enemy territory. "We hunt back." The draugar War Council chamber was silent. Stone walls shimmered with veins of bioluminescent ore, pulsing softly with the breath of the Empire. Massive bone-carved thrones ringed the central dais. And at its center, wrapped in ceremonial crimson armor and flanked by twin executioners, stood Overlord Zervarn. He stared at the holographic projection above the dais. A grainy replay, humans detonating their own colony, taking down one of his Reaver-class cruisers in the process. Primitive. Savage. Effective. "How many?" he asked. A high-ranking tactician bowed. 1,000 draugar, 17 Reavers, and the Vorik Fong. All lost. Zervarn's claws flexed. One colony. One tribe of hairless bipeds. And they left teeth marks. No one spoke. "They think this was defiance." He stepped down slowly. "It was a mistake. A final gasp of prey pretending it has claws." Another draugar, broader and older, dared to speak. "But they destroyed a warship." "Because we let them," Zervarn growled. "Because we assumed they were beneath strategy. That was our mistake." He turned toward the central display, a rotating projection of Earth's network of colonies, fleet deployments, and communication nodes, built from intercepted transmissions. "No more assumptions. Send in the Reavers. Burn the outer colonies. No survivors. Strip their moons, poison their oceans, crush their spirit." The chamber echoed with low, rumbling affirmations. Aboard the human flagship Valkyrie, orbiting Esterion 4, Commander Rhea Calder stood in the medical bay, her armor finally peeled off, her left arm wrapped in biofoam and steel. She stared at the projection of New Titan's crater in silence. "You should rest," said Lieutenant Morrow, stepping in. "Your ribs are cracked. So is your skull, apparently." Rhea gave a thin smile. "Feels about right." He hesitated. "I heard Fleet's planning a counteroffensive. They're calling it Operation Apex." She looked at him. "Apex?" "Yeah. PR folks are going nuts. You're the new poster child for resistance." Rhea scoffed. "They can put my face on a banner after we make these things bleed on their own soil." Morrow handed her a datapad. "Might help with that. Recon drone picked up something in the edge of the dead rift. An abandoned alien vessel, drifting intact. Not draugar. Old. Precursor-level tech, maybe." Rhea scanned the data. The ship was massive, unmarked, and silent. Energy readings faint but present. "And we're just letting it float out there?" she asked. "Too far from major colonies. High radiation belt. But you've got permission to lead a retrieval op." She studied the image for a moment. The ship's silhouette looked like a broken crown. Something about it felt wrong, and necessary. "Prep the shuttle," she said. "We leave at dusk." 3 days later, aboard the derelict. The boarding team moved through the ancient corridors like ghosts. The walls pulsed faintly with a purple glow, like veins beneath skin. No writing. No symbols. Just smooth architecture, organic in shape but silent and cold. Rhea led point, pulse rifle at the ready. "Anyone else feel like this place is watching?" whispered Corporal Lex, sweeping his scanner. "No signs of AI or defense systems," Morrow replied. "But the internal geometry's shifting. Vents move when we're not looking." Rhea paused near a circular chamber. In its center stood a containment pillar, inside, a translucent fluid and something else, a canister lined with microfilament lattices, still humming with dormant energy. Lex stepped closer. "That's not power. That's biological storage. DNA sequencing, maybe. Or something worse." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Log it. Bag it." As they turned to leave, a wall panel flickered, and then they heard it. A voice, not speech, but impression. Ancient. Cold. Curious. "Are you the new gods?" Everyone froze. No life signs. No wireless emissions. "Where did that come from?" Morrow asked, voice tight. The voice returned, this time quieter. "Predators once roamed. They fell. The prey evolved. And so comes the cycle again." Rhea didn't reply. She just reached out and shut off her recorder. Some things, she thought, didn't need explaining to command just yet. Back aboard Valkyrie. 6 hours later. The lab analysis was clear. The alien tech reacted to Draugr biosignatures with targeted aggression. Nanostructures activated only in their presence. Biological detection. Then sterilization. "It's a predator killer," the scientist said, adjusting his glasses. "It reads the apex DNA chain and deconstructs it." Rhea folded her arms. "Can we scale it?" "With time. And raw material. We'll need test samples. Draugr corpses. Live ones if you can catch them." She nodded. "We'll catch them." Draugr battlecruiser Skarn Wrath. Deep orbit over Earth's outer colony, Series 9. Overlord Zervarn observed the planetary assault from the command deck. Another human outpost reduced to fire and bone. A subordinate approached. "Our scouts have located human anomalies. New tech. Not theirs. Possibly harvested." Zervarn turned. "Show me." The screen showed distorted footage, humans deploying small drones that released invisible clouds. Draugr units fell seconds later, convulsing. No wounds. Just death. "Adaptation," he hissed. "Too fast. Too human." He stepped forward, placing a claw on the screen. "Order all commanders. No longer observe. No longer test. Exterminate every cell, every signal, every breath. Burn the planet if needed." Back on Valkyrie. Command briefing room. Rhea stood before a round table of senior officers, a schematic of Draugr fleet routes hovering above them. "We don't have numbers. We don't have reach," she said. "But we have something they'll never understand: pressure. Corner a human, and we get creative." She highlighted supply convoys and Draugr breeding hubs. "We hit them where they think they are safe. Deep strikes. Precision ambushes. Poison their logistics. Cripple their breeding centers. The alien tech gives us an edge." A captain raised an eyebrow. "You're proposing a surgical war of extermination?" "I'm proposing we fight them the way they fight us, but better. Cleaner. Smarter." The room fell quiet. Then Admiral Vance's voice came through the comm panel. "Permission granted. Operation Apex is greenlit. Commander Calder, you lead." The Draugr logistics hub over Velker 9 was not a fortress. It didn't need to be. No species had ever dared to strike so deep inside the Empire's interior routes. Until now. Commander Rhea Calder floated silently inside the drop pod, eyes locked on the mission timer. Her squad was packed tight around her, 6 elite operators, breathing slow and steady, armor gleaming dull under red lighting. A cold hum filled the pod. Beneath them, a station teeming with Draugr. Thousands. Unarmed. Relaxed. Unaware. 10 seconds to breach, whispered Morrow beside her. She nodded once. No words. No preamble. The pod slammed into the hull like a meteor. A split second of metal screaming, then silence. Go! The hatch blew, and they surged forward, weapons raised. A corridor of surprised engineers turned too late. Silenced weapons barked, bodies dropped. No alarms. No chance to react. They advanced swiftly, left then down. Ria's HUD pinged the power node and biolabs below. The real targets weren't the workers. They were the spawn vats, the breeding tanks where reaver embryos were accelerated by biogel nutrient loops. Tactical genocide. Lex patched into the central system through an auxiliary port. I've got the internal grid. Downloading blueprints. Routing detonation coordinates. Ria slid next to him, scanning his feed. How long? 3 minutes. Make it 2. Below them, Driver Warlord Vorstal sat watching a slow-loading feed of Earth's outer colonies. He barely noticed the tremor that ran through the deck. Until the second shockwave hit. Then the power flickered. The Warlord stood. Security breach. Location? He barked. A subordinate stammered. Sector 12. Internal vent shafts. Human signature detected. He froze. Humans? Here? No defense systems activated. They're moving inside our dead zones. Dead zones, maintenance corridors too insignificant to guard. Designed for systems checks, not infiltration. The Warlord's jaw clenched. Deploy reavers. Seal the vats. Kill everything in armor. Ria sprinted into the biovault. Rows of pulsing sacs lined the chamber, each one twitching faintly. Life not yet born, still monstrous. She hated how quiet it was. No cries. Just potential horror, gently breathing. Lex wired the first dead pack to the central stem. If we blow this chamber, the enzyme flows into every vat. They'll melt in their shells. Mara looked away. We sure we're still the good guys? Ria didn't hesitate. These things grow up to strip cities bare. There's no good. There's just necessary. They set the final charge. Then the walls exploded. A reaver squad dropped from the ceiling, silent and fast, like falling blades. The humans scattered. A bolt of energy seared past Ria's head, burning through a column. Lex went down, no sound, just motionless. Morrow, left! She shouted. He fired point blank, catching a reaver in the eye socket. It screeched and fell, twitching. Another lunged at Ria. She sidestepped, drew her sidearm, and emptied it into the creature's gut. It staggered, then collapsed, hissing black mist from its wounds. She grabbed Lex's detonator from his belt. Charge is armed, she called out. Exfil now! Outside the hub, the Valkyrie stealth destroyer, Black Star, hovered in low orbit, cloaked. Pilot Halvik sat tense, hands gripping the controls. Extraction team, on my mark. Windows closing. I've got 4 bogies converging on the exit port. Ria's voice came in over the channel. Window will stay open. Prep for retrieval. I'll cover the breach. You're not staying behind. Morrow cut in. Not planning to die. Just planning to finish the job. She dropped a sonic mine near the corridor and sprinted down the secondary exit shaft as the timer ticked down. 3 seconds. The station rocked violently as the detonation roared behind them. Reaver hatchlings screamed and burned. Aboard Black Star, Ria climbed onto the deck, armor scorched, breathing hard. Morrow pulled her up. We clear? Yeah, she said. We hit them where they weren't watching. They'll feel that. Lex didn't make it, Morrow added, voice low. She nodded. He knew what this was. 2 days later, Drover Capital ship Graal's Fist. Overlord Zervarn stood in front of the holoscreen, fists clenched. 4,000 spawnlings destroyed. A logistics core reduced to slag. Slag! The war room was dead silent. He turned to his inner council. This was no skirmish. This was calculated. They know where to cut. They used something on the reavers. Biotoxin, said one advisor. Untraceable, adaptive. Then adapt. Zervan spat. No more slow hunts. Deploy scour fleets. Wipe 10 colonies for every station they touch. One general stepped forward. Permission to counter-strike Earth directly. A pause. Zervan stared at the star map, eyes narrowing on Sol. No. Not yet. Let them think they're winning. Let them crawl closer. He grinned, sharp teeth glinting. Then we close the jaws. Earth Command Headquarters, Strategic War Room. Admiral Vance surveyed the glowing display of successful strikes. They're hurting. Supply lines severed. Breeding centers falling. What's next? Rhea stepped forward. Their food system. You want to starve them? She shook her head. I want to show them that everything they built, everything they took for granted, can burn. One match at a time. The room fell quiet. Finally, Vance smiled grimly. The floor is yours, Commander. The Valkyrie cruised silently through the ghost zone near Altheris 9, a dead system once home to a thriving alien civilization. Now only ruins drifted in space, cities turned to dust, monuments fractured, bones frozen in vacuum. It was one of many systems destroyed during the Draugr Purge epoch, centuries ago. Commander Rhea Calder stood at the observation deck, staring at the fractured moon below. They did this, she said. Lieutenant Morrow stepped up beside her. Records say the Altherii surrendered. Draugr killed them anyway. They weren't meant to survive. Just serve. Then vanish. He nodded. And now we're showing them we won't vanish quietly. She turned from the glass. No. We're going to teach them fear. Later, Tactical Operations Bay. A dozen screens flickered with intercepted transmissions, surveillance logs, and spliced Draugr data. At the center was a decrypted archive taken from a captured Draugr memory shard, a living data core encoded in tissue. Painful to harvest. Brutal to read. Dr. Kendall, the team's xenolinguist, pointed at the hologram. This isn't strategy. It's dogma. The Draugr don't just conquer. They believe in what they do. Literally. Religion? Morrow asked. Worse. Self-deification. They see themselves as divine apex predators, chosen by genetic supremacy. Every species they wipe out reinforces the narrative. Kendall flipped to another file, videos from subjugated worlds, Draugr high priests conducting purity cults. Rhea watched one in silence. Hundreds lined up, hands raised, slaughtered for failing to meet some arbitrary standard of strength. They're not just invaders, she muttered. They're believers. Morrow frowned. Which means this isn't just war to them. No, she said. It's prophecy. Across the galaxy, Draugr High Temple of Varnhask. Priest Sovereign Threx Maldur kneeled in a pool of black ichor, surrounded by skeletal remains of extinct species. His claws dragged through ancient sigils on the obsidian floor, marking each in blood. Before him, the flames pulsed green, shaped by psychic flame. Humans, he whispered. Another priest circled behind him. They kill without reverence. They strike our sacred generations. They defile the breeding temples. Threx growled. They are not prey. Not anymore. Then what are they? He didn't answer immediately. He reached for a relic, a carved bone from a long-extinct war beast. Blasphemy, he said at last. They are the God-Eaters. Human Communications Hub, Lunar Orbit. Rhea stood in a dark broadcast room, facing a camera and a live galactic stream signal. Behind her, her team configured uplinks to enslaved colonies monitored by Draugr watchnodes. This will expose us, said Tech Officer Juno. The signal will lead them straight here. Rhea nodded. Let them come. But first, we light the match. She stepped into frame. Across dozens of hidden resistance cells, captured outposts, and labor camps, the feed crackled to life. Rhea's face appeared calm and direct. My name is Commander Rhea Calder. I speak for Earth. For humans. For the free. She paused. You've been told to kneel. Told you were weak. That there is only one rightful apex. Her tone sharpened. They lied. The Draugr are not gods. And we are not prey. A reel played, scenes of Draugr warships burning, spawn bats imploding, reavers falling. Hope ignited in whispers. Rise, she said, voice unwavering. If we die standing. If we live, we make them run. She ended the broadcast and turned to Morrow. Let's see how they like being hunted. Within days, Draugr control began to fracture. Slave worlds once held in silent obedience erupted. Small-scale uprisings turned into organized strikes. Drones malfunctioned. Resource shipments vanished. Garrisons went silent. The myth of Draugr invincibility cracked. And in those cracks, rebellions bloomed. Draugr capital, Goreth Prime. Overlord Zervarn slammed his gauntlet fist against the command table. The holomap blurred, then returned, highlighting 6 newly lost systems. How? He growled. A general replied. They're not just attacking. They're undermining our story. The slaves believe the humans are divine now. Zervarn turned slowly. Divine? Some call them Ashborn. Some say they command forgotten technology. One priest declared they are the prophecy's inversion. Zervarn's eyes glowed. Then destroy the myth. He activated a hologram of Rhea Calder. Bring her to me. Alive. Aboard the Valkyrie, operations deck. Rhea reviewed a feed from a captured Draugr scout ship. Its memory logs confirmed her broadcasts had reached over 63 alien worlds. Some sent cryptic transmissions back. Others just sent weapons. We're no longer alone, said Morrow, half smiling. No, Rhea replied. Now we're dangerous. Draugr Warzone, Border Outpost Targval. A human commando team embedded with local rebels assaulted a Draugr temple fortress. The battle was brutal, flames licking sky, screams echoing through caverns. At the heart of the fortress was a shrine, bones of exterminated races arranged in ascending order of strength. Humans were missing. They didn't even put us on the ladder, said the team leader. She raised her rifle. Let's fix that. They burned the shrine. Back on Goreth Prime, Temple of the Primordial Flame. Threx Malder knelt again before the god fire. This time, it wavered. What do you see? Another priest asked. He stared into the flame. I see them devouring the old order. I see the sacred hierarchy overturned. I see us on our knees. Impossible. The prey cannot ascend. Threx did not answer. The fire began to flicker. Valkyrie War Room. Rhea stood before a new map, Goreth Prime, Draugr Capital World, blinking red. It's time, said Admiral Vance, appearing via secure comms. We end this. Strike fleet? Rhea asked. No. Just you and the Valkyrie. If we send an armada, they'll dig in. But a surgical blow through the heart of their empire? Rhea understood. Shock and collapse, she said. Take their symbol. Break their myth. Vance nodded. The fleet will buy you time. The rest is up to you. Rhea stared at the red light marking Goreth Prime. They wanted gods, she said. We'll show them what gods bleed like. The Valkyrie breached Draugr space at FTL Rupture Point 0, emerging just outside the Goreth expanse, a shrouded region no human ship had ever entered. Around them, Draugr defense satellites spun to life, spitting out encrypted pulses. Within seconds, patrol ships banked hard toward them. Commander Rhea Calder stood on the bridge, unblinking. Activate Ghost Core. The Valkyrie shimmered, disappearing from visible, thermal, and quantum detection. Not invisibility. Worse. Absence. They slid past the defenses like a shadow through a locked room. Target locked, said Lieutenant Morrow, voice steady. Draugr Capital Citadel. Deep cradle coordinates confirmed. Atmospheric drop zone in 10 minutes. Rhea nodded. Begin descent. As they dropped, a quiet fell over the crew. Not fear. Focus. They all knew what this meant. There would be no retreat. Goreth Prime was not a planet. It was a living fortress. Black stone towers spiraled out of the surface like fossilized claws. Rivers of molten metal threaded through the ground. In the sky, bones of entire species hung suspended in artificial orbits, a museum of extinction. And at its center, the primordial citadel. Within its throne chamber, Overlord Zervarn sat coiled on his obsidian seat, eyes closed, claws folded. Monitors buzzed around him. All showed the same thing: colonies revolting, supply lines severed, priesthood paralyzed, doctrine shattered. He whispered to himself. Not prey. Not gods. Something else. His aide burst in. My overlord. A breach. Atmospheric rupture in the inner spire. Zervarn rose slowly. They came, he said. Valkyrie's drop bay, final preparations. Rhea secured her rifle, checked the detonators, and looked across the squad. You all volunteered. You all know the odds, she said. This mission doesn't end in survival. It ends in impact. Morrow grinned. If we die, let's make sure we make history regret ignoring us. Hell of an epitaph, muttered someone. The ramp opened. Above the citadel, the storm broke, lightning flashing behind the Valkyrie's silhouette. And humanity descended like wrath. They landed hard. The Draugr responded faster than expected. Reavers and Guardians flooded the inner halls. The first wave hit like a tidal wall. The humans answered with silence and precision. Every step forward was fire and blood. Rhea's armor was dented, scorched, but she moved without hesitation, cutting through corridors, clearing sanctums. Behind her, trails of shattered myth and bleeding monsters. They weren't here to occupy. They were here to puncture the heart. Inside the citadel's central vault, Zervarn prepared alone. No guards. No advisors. He donned his ceremonial war plate, engraved with the names of 10,000 conquered species. As he slid the final claw gauntlet into place, the walls shook. Humans. Closer. He picked up his curved plasma blade and walked toward the throne. I will show them the last breath of gods. The throne hall. Massive. Cold. Built for intimidation. Rhea entered with 3 surviving operatives. Her HUD flickered, interference. The air felt thick, unnatural. Walls of bone and blackened steel loomed on either side. At the far end, Zervarn waiting. He stepped down from the throne, blade low. You wear the shape of prey, he said. But you speak like something old. Something dangerous. Rhea raised her rifle. We learn from the best. He moved, faster than she expected. In a blink, he was within striking range. Her shot went wide. His blade sliced her shoulder, burning through armor. Morrow fired from the side. Zervarn ducked, hurled a short spear. It punched through Morrow's chest. He collapsed. Rhea screamed, lunged, drove her rifle stock into the Overlord's face. Bone cracked. He staggered. She dropped the rifle, drew her combat knife, and kept moving. The fight was vicious. Rhea bled from 3 wounds. Her breath came in gasps. Zervarn was wounded, too, limping, snarling, bleeding black from a slash across his side. You don't win, he growled. Even if you kill me, they will come. They will bury your world. No, she whispered. They'll see you fall. And they'll start to wonder. She pulled the pin on her final charge, clipped it to his chest, and shoved him backward with all her strength. He fell onto the throne. The blast lit the chamber in pure white. Silence. Rhea crawled out of the smoke, helmet gone, face cut, but alive. She stumbled to the dais. The throne was gone. Zervarn was gone. Only ashes remained. Her comm clicked. Valkyrie to Commander Calder. Enemy signals collapsing. Citadel defenses offline. Their fleet, it's retreating. She raised the comm to her mouth. Mission complete. He's dead. 1 week later, Earth Global Broadcast. The galaxy watched as the footage aired. Gorath Prime burning, Draugr leadership shattered, humans walking free through the ruins of a species that once called themselves gods. From mining colonies to forgotten moons, Rebellions turned into revolutions. The myth was dead. And in its place, a new truth. Post-war debrief, Earth Command. Admiral Vance poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed one to Rhea. You rewrote the rules, he said. She looked out the window, stars blinking across the void. We didn't start this war, she said quietly. We just finished it. Louder. He raised his glass. To humanity. She tapped hers against his. To the monsters who learned to fear us.